but he was talking about a statement that Bob Iger gave in response to the backlash to the Pirates of the Caribbean 6, how they're going to, remake it all with females and really, it's going to be super diverse and all this kind of stuff. And I wasn't able to find that statement myself on Google anywhere, but really the things he was saying, it's not out of character. Bob Iger very well easily could have said this. And if he hasn't said it, I've been told this nonsense a ton by other, ideologues who try to, gaslight you into believing there's no culture war. Well, we're not doing any, that kind of thing. Of course, there was the video that had surfaced of Bob Iger talking to Disney employees, a while ago back in the day, about how they want to push this agenda. They want to change things. They want to push this stuff into films and into their properties. But part of this, statement, because there's a rightful backlash against it, you don't screw around with Pirates of the Caribbean. If Johnny Depp's not coming back, then just don't do it. Stop it. Especially don't do it when you're trying to push your DEI agenda in there. And his statement was basically to the effect of like, look, hey, we're just trying to make things more diverse. We're just trying to, make things more equitable, more inclusive, and there's no agenda here. There's no culture war. Hey, by saying there's a culture war, you guys are actually starting a culture war. No one here is trying to start a culture war. We're just trying to be more diverse and inclusive. And you believe in diversity and inclusivity, don't you? And they try to, there's a couple of things that are so infuriating about that tactic. First of all, it's gaslighting. It's pretending that we're not changing your properties. We're not changing your franchises. You're just turning into a grumpy old racist KKK member. If that's what you think, you don't want to be one of those people, do you? Like Clark Gregg talk about, oh, you just want to be one of those dinosaurs wandering towards the tar pits. You're so sad that you just won't get with the new diverse, thing. And this is garbage. That's gaslighting. They're not just creating more opportunity for people. That is not what they're doing. They are fundamentally changing the fabric of our franchises, fundamentally from ground up. You can look at movies from the early, right up to the early teens. You still had quality storytelling. I mean, this writing was on the wall to be, to the certain extent, but you still had quality storytelling, quality scripts. You still had plenty of diversity. I mean, diversity, they act like diversity wasn't there before, which is nonsense. We had no strong female characters until Carol Danvers came along. This nonsense. It was all there. They are pushing an ideology. They're not creating more opportunity. They're pushing an ideology. And it's the stories are suffering for it. Horribly, the stories are suffering for it. To the point where they're not fun to watch anymore. No one appreciates these characters. No one enjoys these films, these shows, or whatever. Their numbers are dying, and they're trying everything they can to bully people into getting back on board with them, bullying people into shut up, go support it, go support the Disney, go support the woke nonsense. And just pretend that everything's fine. Everything's fine here. Everything's fine. Now, of course, it's not. I mean, and this has been a tactic for a long time. I mean, it used to be, I would get pilloried, straight up pilloried, calling out a culture war. There's no culture war. You're so stupid. They can't really do that anymore. They can't take quite that ridicule level of tactic because enough people know about it. Enough people know this is very much a thing. You guys are trying to go to war with us over these franchises and whatnot. And they really can't ridicule you so much anymore. So they try to be more subtle with their manipulation and gaslighting. Look, by saying there's a culture war, you're the one starting a culture war. And there's a very subtle threat in there. What they do, so they gaslight you, and then they start weaponizing the language. They take those terms, and this is nothing new either for the ideologues. Look, I mean, don't you stand for diversity and equity and inclusion? I mean, these are good things, right? Are you going to tell me you're not for diversity and inclusivity? Okay, then, they bully you. And the threat implied there is, well, if you say that you're against this, that's going to mean you're a Nazi. And you know what we do with those Nazis? We punch those, we cancel them. We ruin everything about their lives, It's a threat. They threaten you. It's implied at the very least. Sometimes it's quite explicit. And I think more of us need to stand up and say, yeah, I am against diversity. In the way that you're contextualizing it, 100%. I'm against diversity the way you think about diversity. I'm against inclusivity the way you're presenting inclusivity, 100%. And we need to just throw that back up in their faces and act like, they're not going to make us afraid by defining terms. They define the playing field. They define the battle, and then convince you that there is no battle, and convince you to lay down and throw down your arms, and everything's fine. You can't fight on the field that they have already established or they've already defined. And by fighting, of course, I'm meaning figuratively speaking, culture war stuff, not any kind of violence or whatever, obviously. But as I said, diversity wasn't that big of an issue. It wasn't. This is, academia coming in with their nonsense. This is, everybody, we got to problematize everything. Oh, this and that. Well, yeah, we had that female hero, but oh, her costume was just too tight. Oh, it's so problematic. Male gaze. Oh, we need this now. We need that now. And as a result, you get franchises today are incarnations from these franchises, which are just devoid of every bit of soul. If you need any evidence for that, just look at the recent X-Men 97 that was released. 96, 97, you know me, numbers. But ridiculous. They're just trying to pretend that we're taking this property that came out in the 90s, which is so beloved, and we're going to tell new stories within that property. No, you're not. So-and-so's non-binary now. Just look at, and there people have shown these images. Just look at images of Rogue from the 90s show and the new Rogue. I mean, they are, it's par for the course. Let's remove every bit of idealization from these forms. That's not diversity or inclusivity. That's, we are uncomfortable. They might as well be like, Jimmy Swaggart prayer warriors or something, trying to come in and censor anything that dares might look suggestive. I mean, and I say that on purpose because they would hate that, because that's what they think they're not. No, we're not, you evil Christian right people. No, you might as well be. You might as well be extremist. You're the people that cancel dancing in the town in Footloose. I mean, that's what the woke have become. They are that ridiculous with their censorship, with their tactics. They've become the thing they hate. They fought against evil Christianity for so long that and they've misunderstood, what actual Christianity is and everything, that they have become all of the tactics that they argued against, or thought that, the evil religious right was censoring and whatnot. That's what they're doing here. And they're trying to pretend and trying to tell you that's not what we're doing. No. Hey, what's wrong with Morph being non-binary? The very fact that you even try to shove that stupid modern word, which is meaningless. Okay. Non-binary does not mean anything. There's no such thing as a non-binary person. All right. People are born male or female. It's dependent on their chromosomes. It's a fact. It's a fact. If you are not very, if you're not really in line with what people have sort of culturally piled on to the meaning of being a man or the meaning of being a woman, whatever, that's you. Doesn't mean you need to be, well, now I'm non-binary. No, you're still a man or a woman. You're just you, stop it. But, everything needs to be a label. Everything needs to be attributed its victim points on the chart for this intersectional nonsense. And everybody needs to be oppressed. My oppression, I need to be oppressed. And it's all the evil, straight, heteronormative white man's fault,